In this video, I'm gonna break down the 8 most valuable skills you need to make money, be successful, and achieve the life you want. Your level of success will determine on the skills you have and how hard you work. But when you actually think about it, if you have higher levels of skills, you actually don't have to work so hard. And this is some of the things I'm gonna explain in this video, because skills can give you a lot of leverage where you can make one thing, like this video, that can have a huge amount of impact for the next couple of years going on. And this is where you have to focus on building assets that are gonna help you long-term. And the biggest asset you have is yourself. Now, number one, I'm obsessed with leverage and removing the golden handcuffs so that I can have a business that works for me and that I don't work for it. And this comes down to one very simple thing, and we're gonna do this video in a process that's gonna make sense. And number one is hiring, because what you wanna do is you wanna build a team of weapons. And weapons basically help you to achieve the success you want by winning the war. And this comes down by a couple of different things. One, hire for attitude, train for skill. 2 is setting very clear expectations, what you want at the beginning. And 3 is try and bring people in who have a proven track record of success doing the thing you wanna do. The higher you go up in business, the more you're gonna be looking to bring people in who are better than the people you currently have. And ideally what you wanna be looking for is people who can come in and teach you things rather than you having to teach them. Now, why most people struggle to hire is they just hire the first person who comes along. That Uncle Jimmy used to be a videographer, can hold a camera, so they hire them. It doesn't work like that. The minimum I'd recommend most people should do is they should interview at least 5 to 10 people for any given role. But most people I see just take the first candidate who comes along who's willing to join. And you have to remember, during a hiring process, it's actually a sale. You have to sell them of why they should come and work for you. Now, some big pitfalls to look for in terms of hiring. A big thing I see a lot of people do, in particular when it comes to coaching, is they overpay their staff when it comes to fulfillment. So the golden ratio you want, and you want to write this down, is you want to have an 80% profit margin on your coaching. So you spend 20% of the product cost in terms of fulfillment maximum. And this allows you to have the margin to actually scale, put money into ads, put money into actually building a team to make you media, and actually put money into your pocket rather than just putting it all into fulfillment. And this is where a lot of coaches go wrong, because I see a lot of them get bad advice from other mentorships where they're paying people up to half of what the client's paying. At that point, that team member is actually making more money than you are when you actually take into account the business expenses. Number 2 is delegating. Now, delegating is vital and something that goes wrong a lot of the time. And I've had to learn from the hard way of how to do this and how not to do this. Now, one of the most important things with delegating is A, giving clear expectations of what you want it done. But secondly, the most important thing is of when it needs to be done by. And this is a key thing, so that everyone has clear expectations, because I had a bad habit of, say, for example, I want something done ASAP, but what the fuck does ASAP mean? Does that mean today? Does that mean by the end of the week? Does that mean by the end of the month? So have a clear guideline in terms of when you want something done. And ideally what you want to do is, if you're going to delegate something that's a repeated task, I would film a Loom video of how to basically do the thing. So for example, on Sunday, I built out a sick ad tracking platform in terms of a spreadsheet. It's super nerdy and very in-depth and has a lot of numbers. And I was going to get my team to run it. So I needed 2 different people to do it, one from the lead gen and sales team, one to put the ad and funnel data in there. And I was like, well, I'm going to fill in the spreadsheet right now. So I'm just going to record a Loom video of me getting this data and then filling it all in, and I can literally just send them to them. So the thing you want to do when you delegate is just document the process and then give it to the person, and they've got a full guide of how to do it. Now, you might be saying that when I delegate things to people, they don't do it. The thing you then have to ask is, 1, do they not understand? And 2, do they just not want to do it? And if you ask them, did you not understand, or did you just not want to do it? That's going to give you a very clear answer if you've hired the wrong person from the previous section, or whether it's a miscommunication from your behalf. And my big golden rule with that is that you want to give people 2 chances. First chance, if you tell someone to do something, you correct them, you teach them again. If they still don't do it again, then at that point you should look for a better solution, which is a better employee. Number 3 is the ultimate skill, and that's storytelling. So more and more, the reason people buy from people is the story they tell. What we want to focus on doing is not selling, it's storytelling. So the story might be about you, and we talk about the attractive character framework in 7-figure scaling systems, where we want you to be the attractive character that people want to be like. And number 2 is you want to actually sell the stories of your clients and your success stories. So here's how I took Jane from being 40 pounds overweight to in the best shape of her life, finding the partner she's getting married to, and then having 2 kids. What a life-changing experience. If you had a potential client who was watching that video, who saw what Jane looked like before and where she is now, they're going to be very bought in. And this is where you need to show more proof, less promises, and storytell throughout the process rather than sell. The big mistake I see a lot of people making is they don't actually put enough social proof out there. And it's the same thing actually in terms of employees in your business. You need to tell the owner what you're doing all the time, because they don't know. And this is where you're always better to over-communicate in terms of social proof, share as much as possible, not just hide it within and do once a week. Now, the best place in terms of storytelling, in terms of your own story, and also in terms of client results, is on Instagram stories. So one thing I would do at least once a week is something like an IG Q&A where you can talk on camera, very, very informal, share some of your life, share the things you do every single day, try and be the attractive character that's walking the walk. And number two is actually show client results. So snippets of things inside your program, how Jane lost 40 pounds, this amazing message she got from someone she met at Christmas she hadn't seen for 6 months at Christmas dinner. Like those type of things are what really resonate, and they also give people trust, because skepticism is an all-time high, and a huge thing you have to do right now is to build trust and authority. Number four is sales systems. So the ability to sell and to actually build the systems around that is vital. Like the number one skill you have in life is your ability to sell. So if you look at anything in life as a sell, whether it's someone coming to work for you, like I mentioned in this video, whether it's finding a partner, that's a sell. Whether it's getting your kids to stop eating cookies, it's a sell, or a negotiation. And this is where you have to understand how human behavior works and how to essentially ethically manipulate people to get the result you want. But within that, when you start to actually look at data, you have to track these things effectively so you can see what the problem is you need to fix. And this comes down in terms of sales systems. So if you're looking at like, what's the reason people aren't signing up? What's the main objection? What's your closing rate? What's your sharp rate? Like, what's the actual bottleneck in the business? Because if you fix the point of constraint, the business will continue to grow until you hit the next natural point of constraint. And your job as a business owner is to do two things. One, find the skill of the sales system to find the point of constraint. And number two is actually have the skill of almost like pattern recognition, which is where you need to manipulate that into the system. So for sales system, the most important thing you have is a tracking sheet for closers, what the close rate is, what the objections are they following up with their clients? And you can also compare different closers and different close rates if you have a team. The additional thing you need to do with that in terms of sales systems is the pre-call systems in terms of confirmation and end-of-day reports from closers. The same thing applies to call setting teams, to people booking the calls for you every day. Number six is task automation. Now, we live in a beautiful world where AI is coming in. AI is probably going to put a lot of people out of jobs in the next 5 to 10 years, which is why you need to make as much money as possible, in my opinion, before 2030. However, it's creating a lot of opportunity for you as a business owner to automate a lot of systems and processes in your business. This can automate client onboarding, this can automate a lot of fulfillment, this can automate a lot of the sales processes, and the magical system you need for this is actually called Zapier, and we implement a lot of this into our 7FSS 365 software system, which is our done-for-you software solution, which is the actual software we use in our own fitness business. You hit the link below this video and get access to that. And this is where you basically want a system where everything works like clockwork. So you can make your employees more efficient, you can make yourself more efficient, and you can make sure that nothing falls through the gap. Because when you look to grow your business, you have what's called friction of scale. The more things that happen, the more likelihood of problems there are. And it also means you have to bring in more team members to handle all the admin crap. The reality is if you can automate and streamline these processes, you have less problems, less refunds, and actually really importantly, less people to manage. Number 7 is audience growth. One of the most powerful things for your future is your personal brand and audience you can build and then monetize now, and if not now, in the future. And this comes down to your ability to make content, your ability to articulate yourself on social media, and your ability to actually get people to buy into you in your journey. Now, social media is getting more competitive as a landscape because more people are understanding the value of this platform now. But your job is to try and stand out in a busy market. And the best way to do that is 1, be yourself, and 2, try and be slightly different, and 3 is not to hold yourself back if there's something you want to say. Because there's a lot of people who are very vanilla in terms of the content they make. They're too afraid to speak up and too afraid to do something different. Whereas the reality is, if you say something different that polarizes some people, pushes them away, it's going to pull a lot of people towards you. If you look at Donald Trump as a prime example, I love Donald Trump, he's a G. One of the most impressive things I've ever seen is when he basically got shot in the head and he stood up and he's like, fight. For a guy to do that at that age is wild. And a lot of people love him, but a lot of people hate him. And this is what you want to be. It's like Marmite, English expression. People either love it or they hate it. And that's the type of tribe you need to build around you. Because if you get 1,000 people who know you, like you, and love you, you will never ever run out of customers again. And tied into that comes the last thing, is community building. So when you're building a business and you're building a future for yourself, you want to create a community around yourself. Now, more and more as the world advances and we get more glued into our phones, One of the most important things I see is communities. People want to be around more people want to go to events, people want to network, people want to be inspired by others. If you can be the person who creates that environment, that gives you a lot of power, a lot of impact, and also if you have customers, they're going to stay with you a lot longer because they're going to get a lot of value from the community, which gives you a lot of ability to scale because it's not coming just directly from you. Now you might be thinking, Charlie, how do I get all these skills you're talking about? Now, the reason I have all these skills is over the last 8 years, I've spent over $270,000 working one-to-one with mentors. That doesn't include all the courses I've been to, all the books I've bought, all the random online stuff I bought. And the fastest way you get to get these skills is you go to the person who has them, you get them to teach them to you, and that's how you collapse time where you want to be. These skills I have, they act like a force multiplier. All these 8 things I've spoken about, they all work together congruently to get you to where you want to be. And when you have these are like a superpower. It's like a nuclear weapon you can unleash wherever you want, on any industry, in any business. And if you want to learn the skills in terms of how to grow an online business, you can hit the link below this video. You can book in a free call with us. It's not a sales call. We will literally guide you through the process in terms of how to build an online business. Obviously, we want you to try and join up with us and become a client, but we will teach you how to make money on that call with the goal that actually you make money and you can come back to us as a client. If you took value from this video, make sure you smash the like button, comment any questions, and we'll see you next video soon.